Welcome to the Wellness in a Chaotic World podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl Davis. Before we dive in, I wanted to note that as a health and wellness coach, I can support you in making sustainable lifestyle changes, tuning into your own wisdom, and building habits that align with your values and vision for your well being. I don't prescribe or treat health conditions, as I'm not a doctor or a mental health professional. Instead, I can walk alongside you as you create a healthier life on your terms. From time to time, I share conversations with guests. The views and opinions expressed by those guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect my views or those of anyone associated with wellness in a chaotic world. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always talk to your doctor or qualified mental health provider about any physical or mental health concerns. This is the Wellness in a Chaotic World podcast, a place where we're having conversations about what it really takes to live well in our unhealthy, chaotic world. I'm your host, Cheryl Davis. If you're beating yourself up over a bag of chips you ate in a stressed out frenzy, or you can't figure out how anyone manages to find the time to even think about wellness, you're in the right place. We talk about all of these things and more because, frankly, we don't talk to each other enough about what we're really up against every day. Let's change that right now. Kimberly Rose Bley, aka Remedy Rose, has been a bedside nurse for 15 years. Rose was a witness to how others were treated in the hospital during the COVID pandemic and was deeply moved to do her part to create a new paradigm. She says most of her nursing colleagues were forced to practice under extreme conditions and, as a consequence, lost empathy. In 2021, Rose went back to school to become a certified functional and nutritional medicine practitioner. After graduating and starting her own practice at the age of 37, she discovered she was finally pregnant after several years of trying. She credits the successful pregnancy and birth of her baby boy to using what she's learned about functional medicine to treat her own fertility issues. She is now committing her life's work to serving other nurses and healthcare workers, teaching them how to use self-love, kindness, and patience with themselves so they can be better nurses to the public. I hope you enjoy today's episode. So, Rose, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, tell us your story. I know that you're a nurse. How did you find your way to functional medicine for nurses?
I found my path by being a unwell nurse myself. I felt I had reached somewhat of a crescendo of my profession, and I'm not going to say I was miserable because that would be an over exaggeration. I just wasn't happy, and I had enough in me still, enough fire, I suppose, to realize that this isn't right. I'm in the health field. There's something off if I'm supposed to be caring and loving and giving to others while they're sick, and all I can think about is myself during my shifts. So this was prior to me having my own business, but in the nitty gritty grind of being a hospital nurse post COVID or even before, I felt that things were just not really conducive to my own health journey. And it was very strange because I felt like I should know all these things because I am a nurse, and I didn't. I had no answers for why every joint in my body felt so inflamed and stiff. And I had to think before I could propel myself forward, which is now I hear other clients tell me that. I say, I just can't get up and go. I have to almost think about it. It's like my brain and my body are disconnected. And I always say to them now, well, they are. But you're having that pre thought of something's going on. So no energy, every joint hurting, not very happy. I wanted to start a family, but didn't feel like I could. I thought, gosh, if I feel this way, how am I going to care for a baby? So there was some things, mental health issues too. I was just a little bit angry all the time or on edge. I wanted more. I was not satisfied, yet I had no real focus. Didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I just thought, I'm going to keep working until my body falls apart. So that's normally what we do. Why can't I just be happy with that? So,
You hear stories about how overworked nurses are. How bad is it?
well, so I try to take a step back and I think, well, coal miners have a really hard job. Linesmen, they're out there in all kinds of inclement weather up on ladders. And I try to think every profession does. So why is ours really that much different? But interesting. I listened to Lo Bundy, I believe, your podcast with her. And I was taking some notes and she had said some things. And I think what it really comes down to is the overwork is mental, not so much physical, because every job is physically demanding. I'm not going to put us on a pedestal. It's the mental and the emotional overwork that leads to burnout in nursing. When you're constantly giving every shift, every week, every month, and then you're a year in, you're 5 years, you're 10 years, you're 15 years into being at the bedside, listening to somebody talk about how their health has gone downhill. And that, like a therapist, becomes the burnout because we don't have very many tools to help them. In reality, we don't really have any. We're super task oriented. When you're a floor nurse, you have to hang in antibiotics, give that oral pill, do a wound change. You're just very task oriented. And so you don't really get to go into the backside of how they got there. And they so badly want to with you because you might be the only healthcare professional they've ran into in the past year or two. So it just sucks. And so you leave every shift feeling bad, and then it starts all over the next week, and you just chronically feel guilty for not being able to do more. I thought I was doing good, but after COVID, it wasn't, I didn't see any real good anymore. People needed more, and our healthcare system just can't give it to them.
Yeah, it's a shame. Um, so for your joint pain that you were feeling, how did you come to a solution for that?
So I decided to, I really truly uprooted my life. Like I've heard other people say that they just changed everything. And I followed suit. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just did it. I uprooted my life and I went and travel nursed for many years. So I just switched everything up and I became uncomfortable in my life so that I couldn't think about that. I wanted to focus on, okay, let's plan this route to this hospital. How am I going to get there? I need to set up housing for the next 3 months. What's that going to look like? What town do I want to be in? What hobbies are there that I can partake in? Because I'll only be there a couple of months. So I really just had to go do something else to not focus, because we can make our illness exasperated when that's all we think about. And I knew my situation wasn't going to change quickly. So, in order to force that change, like other mentors say, get yourself out of it, take a step back, do the 10,000-foot view. And that's what I did. And in doing that, I met people that I could finally heal with: naturopaths, functional medicine naturopaths, osteopaths. I got out of my box and was able to finally meet the people that I needed to meet.
So what makes those practitioners, the functional medicine, osteopaths, different?
Oh boy, that could be a 2-hour long conversation. And you know it could, Cheryl. You know it could.
I do.
They are just, they're amazing. They are so different in their approach to healthcare that it seems odd or not correct. But actually, it's because we've been brainwashed by Western medicine protocols that we don't believe in the simplicity of healing. We've overcomplicated it because that overcomplication seems like a secret, like something we need to learn, we need to know. If I could just find that pill and take it at this right time, or, whatever, then maybe this will stop and that will get better. And you name it, heartburn, arthritis, irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, lupus. People just think if they just find that one solution that it will all change and get better. But it might go under the table dormant for a little while, but it's not going to get better because they're chronic illnesses. So when you meet an osteopath or a functional medicine practitioner, they already know that. They're not going to try to sell you on a treatment that's only going to get you by for 3 months or 4 months, or maybe even next week, so that you keep coming back. They're going to teach you, educate you, and give you the actual tool bag to manage your illness yourself. And to me, that's the greatest gift a person can give another person, is honesty and healing. And we just don't get that with Western medicine. Is there a place for it? Absolutely. We need it for acute care. Acute care. That is the difference. Everybody else walking around has something wrong with them, and the acute care model is not going to help them. That's why we're the sickest nation that has the most money and the most advanced healthcare, supposedly. It's a facade. It's something that, it's a marketing strategy. They're just going to keep selling it in a different bottle with a different label. But there are a few of us that have gotten out, and now we know the truth. And my mission is to share that truth about healing to nurses, because it is there that if we change their mindset and we change their thought process on healing, we will change, I believe, truly America, because there's nurses everywhere. And if we can just get to them and show them, then I think it's going to be a very quick change, maybe 5 or 10 years, that we can see better bedside practicing, more nurses advocating for themselves to give better care. I mean, it's got to end somewhere. We have to do something, because it's a failing system, and it's going to fail so badly one day, I'm afraid, that it will have really bad consequences. And I don't want to see that. So
Yeah.
it's my life mission now to try to get in before it happens and teach nurses about functional medicine.
Could you see, I mean, I guess logically to me, it seems like there needs to be two separate healthcare systems, one for the acute care and then the lifestyle and chronic illness prevention.
Yes, prevention. That's what it's all about. That's the key word right there. That's it. Prevention, preventative care. There should be preventative care and then acute care, period.
So with nurses, and it's revolutionary, like what you're thinking of and doing really is coming up in the system. I want to say from the bottom, not that nurses are on the
Yeah.
bottom, but like they're the ground floor, really in there doing the work. And if you change minds, you could change the whole system.
I believe I can. I heard another interview with somebody on Kathy Heller's podcast, where the woman was talking about, I think it was the manufacturer, or the owner, I should say, of It Cosmetics. And she was just talking about that specifically, how you have to keep getting up after being knocked down in order to change things. And she herself kept looking up other people who were told no so many times, but eventually overcame it and came out on top. And that is what I believe too. I think I'm just going to open the door. I'm hoping actually there will be others behind me that really take it to the top. But I'm young enough that I can start this small ball and start it, start rolling it out and see it grow. Because with the baby boomers health crises coming soon, we're going to need something that's bigger than the Nurses Association. We won't simply have enough human beings to take care of that population. So we have to get to them. And they're leaving the profession left and right, sadly. The turnover rate is astronomical compared to when I started 15 years ago. Floor nursing, nobody wants to do it anymore. They can't replace us with AI. It's just not possible. You can't physically change a human being that just voided in the bed. You can't have anybody else do that but another human being. And nobody wants to do it. So the goal is bigger than just preventative care. It's really humbleness and hoping that people want to stay doing bedside nursing. I still do it and I have my own clinic. Why do I still do it? Because I love doing it. I really, truly do. I love putting hands on people. I love being with people right before they pass. I love giving nutrition when they can't eat because of throat cancer, setting up the tube feeding for the first time and talking to them about it. And it's it's magical. It is so spiritual being a nurse, and we forget it because we get burnout and our bodies hurt and it's just a task. Oh, I got to go set up this tube feeding. But it's really, if you take a step back and think about it, what you're doing for this other human, it's the most spiritual experience ever. And they need functional medicine for themselves to feel good again so that they can do that work. So the work that I'm doing is actually for retention of nurses as well. It can be a very rewarding job. And I love hearing stories from older nurses. I eat it up. I love it. I can't get enough of it. If I ever did a podcast, it would probably be interviewing what we call seasoned nurses, really nurses that have just done this job for so long because their stories are incredible. They are incredible. And I hope that we have those nurses in the future, but we have to retain the new grads in order for that to happen. It's dirty work, yeah, but all work is, it's what you make it.
So tell me a little bit about True Root Health and what you are offering to nurses.
True Root Health came about in 2022. So it started with my fertility journey after I had gone to functional medicine school. So I met a naturopath. She really helped change a lot of things around in my own body. I was convinced and sold on holistic medicine then. She turned my whole life around in 6 months. At that point, I decided, okay, this is a good time to start the fertility journey. I'm going to do it. And boom, within 2 years of trying on my own and nothing happening, really 2.5 years, within 4 months, I was pregnant. And I was working with a functional medicine fertility specialist. That's a mouthful. So, and she was also working with women over 35, which is like a double hard thing in medicine. When you start to talk about trying to get pregnant over 35, it's all about in vitro and testing your eggs and let's test your partner. And pretty soon thousands and thousands of dollars are spent with or without the final outcome. During this time, my sister was also going through this process. She was doing it the Western way. I was doing it the functional medicine holistic way, and I got pregnant. So she ended up having to use some eggs from a donor, and everything worked out fine for her too. We're both very happy. So but I wanted to do it more the natural way. She didn't want to give up sugar. She loves Mountain Dew. She didn't want to put in the work to do what you had to do to make your fertility chances better. Um, I only did it for a couple of months. It wasn't a lifestyle change. It was a lifestyle change very intensely for those few months. But after, I was able to reintroduce different things, and it was all fine. So during that time, I decided I'm going to create True Root Health and take people on this journey with me because I wanted them to see success. I couldn't during my actual 2.5 year journey with the naturopath because I was travel nursing. Life was hectic. I never took pictures. I never wrote a post or started a Facebook group or anything like that. But once I started to be healthy and my time aligned with my own thoughts, feelings, actions, True Root Health really just came up on its own because it was time. I knew the world needed it. It was ready. I was ready. The public was ready. So I started the group in Facebook. And then the last year, I've been going down a journey of creating the online program, which I am so excited to soon be launching. I can't wait. Can't wait. Nurses will be able to order their own blood work, their own hormones, their food sensitivity test. It's 10 modules. That is the way that I felt like I could get to more nurses quicker. They're not going to walk in through my door. It's not going to happen. There's 5 hospitals around here. I hardly see any nurses. I see a handful because they are so difficult. They know everything. We know it all. So we don't want to hear advice from other people. So I have to really be careful in my marketing and my words and how I talk to them in order to get them to slowly start crossing over to the other side. But I do think COVID helped that because when I went back to the hospital after being out for several years, I saw that there were nurses that know the truth about things, and they want to know more. And I didn't see that prior to COVID. It was a very individualistic profession. So I'm kind of grateful for what happened in a way because I think it changed the healthcare industry.
Yeah. I mean, how could it not, right? It was such
Yeah,
a big strain.
so big. I mean, so big. And since then, I feel like what nurses saw and what they went through, I mean, I have so many stories myself. I think that they're finally ready. So when I launch it here soon, I'm excited to see what happens.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's tough conversations to be had, very tough.
Yeah, that is awesome. Very exciting. And also very exciting, you have an 11-week-old.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. That's why it has taken me over a year to put this program together,
Mhm, mhm.
but perseverance, that baby was ready and I was ready. And so, yeah, he just happened to come right when everything else was happening too.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
So, what's your top piece of advice for someone who is just looking into functional medicine and wants to know more? Where should they look for information?
Sure. I think they should get with a practitioner that is willing to make a health map for them. That's what we refer to it in functional medicine. What is a health map? A health map is getting your micronutrients tested, getting your hormones tested, doing some education on your age, your weight, where you're at metabolically, and then fourth, where do you want to be? What's your goal? Because once you have that map, you don't have to keep redoing it. people say all the time to me, I don't want to do that test because then I have to repeat it and it's going to cost $300. That's not true. We do the initial testing. I do the initial testing. And from there, I match it with their signs and symptoms. And as we work together and they get better, there's not a need to retest because you're better. That's the difference. When you're sick, you keep getting it retested, maybe your CBC, your white blood count, your red blood count, because you want to see, are you getting better? If you don't feel better, then you're probably not getting better. So there's the caveat. That's how they keep you in the system, because you almost expect not to feel better, because you know in 6 months you're going to go get another CAT scan or MRI, and you're in the meantime just kind of waiting. You're just going to wait and see what happens at that next scan. That's not how health works. So my advice is to get off of that train ride that really never ends, because our bodies are only aging. We hit a certain point where we're done growing, and now we're just going to live out the rest of our lives, and hopefully in a healthy way. So getting a roadmap, you know exactly where you're at, what supplements you need to take, not all the time, but for this time period in your life to help give you a boost. And when you feel good, you don't take them. You just live your life, and you use food as medicine. That's the biggest thing, is food is medicine. That's how you maintain. So functional medicine is a lot of supplements and testing, but once you do that, you're done. From there, you just heal.
It's
And
more
then you,
intervention rather
yeah,
than a lifetime of
yes,
medications. Yeah.
absolutely. Because every medicine has something else in it. It's not just a metoprolol. It's got other salts in there in that pill, other things that are going to run down your liver, your kidneys, anything that processes or eliminates substances in the body. It never comes just by itself.
I'm glad you mentioned food as medicine, because that's a big theme that I like to talk about too. Just because we've been so blind for the past several decades about what food really is, because you walk into the grocery store and 90% of it is not really food anymore.
It's not, um, it should almost be illegal what they are selling us. I would go as far as saying it should be illegal. What they're putting in our food and how they're selling it is the same way that alcohol and cigarettes were sold prior to the laws changing in the late 90s. All of our big box food companies are owned by previously owned corporations of tobacco. That's something I teach in my module. So they're using the same tactics, the same strategies that they sell tobacco to sell food to us. Now, if that doesn't kind of get you, I don't know what else could, because it's a poison. It keeps you sick. There's nothing good about it. I smoked for many years. I know the ups and downs of it. I know what the late nights on the back porch, and you just kind of hate yourself, but you're still smoking, and you look at it and you say, why? Why am I doing this?
Yeah,
Same
same.
thing with the cinnamon roll. It's like, I'm going to eat this cinnamon roll and I'm going to look at it. And when it's gone, why did I do it? Because that 5 minute taste, now I'm going to feel awful the next day, or, whatnot. It just doesn't end. Well, they know that. So a lot of the other end of medicine is, how do you teach somebody to override all of that thought process, brainwashing, marketing? How do you teach that? It can take some time.
Yeah, it's breaking that learned helplessness too, and that shame spiral I've found, where
Yes.
you eat the cinnamon roll and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't do the right thing, and but like here it
Hmm.
is in your face constantly. And how do you make another choice? Like,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah. Yeah. We don't know it. We're not taught it. We have to. We have to learn it from others. Yeah. I was never taught it in nursing school or by my family. I'm just a product of my generation, even though I did grow up on a farm. So I
Yeah.
knew as a kid what was right. But my mother's a product of 70s and 80s. So I grew up a product of what she knew was right, but convenience overruled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I
TV
was on a
dinners.
farm. I was on a farm too, and all of those convenience foods crept in because it made things that much easier for people, and
Yeah.
we just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Or we didn't. Somebody did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's really something that the farmers' generation from the 50s and 60s, what did happen in the 70s and 80s that took that knowledge that you would think that they would still have from being that much more connected to food. What happened?
Hmm.
And the only thing I can think of is just that the food industry is that good. They're that good. I mean, they're paid so much money to invent food that tastes good, like Doritos. So a food chemist, they're paid astronomically well. And that's something that we never talk about. What's a food chemist? What are these fake salts that they're putting on? I mean, you know, so it's really shining a light on what's going on too. That's our job. It's one of our roles when I talk to people is I'm going to take out that really bright light. You may not like what you see, but once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. That's why it took me 2.5 years because I refused. I was not going to accept that the foods that I really liked were so awful. I wanted to keep eating them. It's like I was mad at my naturopath for teaching me these things. I was actually mad at him. I thought, you're full of crap. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that to us. And so, yeah, yeah, they would.
But it's hard too
Yeah.
because there's an actual addiction process going on inside the body too
Oh,
with some of it, especially the
yes.
sugar.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was not only was I mad at him, but I was an addict to those things and I had to break the addiction. So naturally you're angry when you break any addiction.
Right.
Yeah. This little guy exists because of functional medicine. I have no doubts. I had no progesterone when I was trying to get pregnant. So after my schooling, I decided to do a full hormone panel myself, not through a practitioner. I just ordered it because that's actually the beauty of the healthcare industry now is you can order all your own blood work, which is awesome. Um, it's not like the old days where you need a lab requisition form. So I ordered my own blood work and I was a nurse, but I didn't know how to read a hormone panel because we don't check those in the hospital. So I ordered it, saw I had no progesterone, and then started working with that naturopath on fertility issues. And within 4 months, after 2.5 years of doing what I thought was right, let alone going down the in vitro path, which I wasn't going to do. I said I'm not doing it. If this is the way, and if it's not this way, it's not meant to be. Of course, that was what I was saying, but that's not what my heart felt. I wanted a baby more than anything. So yeah, I give her
Yeah.
a lot of credit for getting my inflammation down so that I was cycling the way I should. And it was easy to get pregnant once that happened.
So inflammation is connected to everything, isn't it?
Everything. Yeah,
Hmm.
it really is. Heart disease, infertility, mental health, you name it. It's literally the number one cause of every illness. And food drives that inflammation more than anything else that we come in contact with. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are doing amazing work.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah,
It's,
well, I mean,
yeah,
you got to start somewhere.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to start somewhere. So holding somebody's hand is where I tell people to start. Just hold somebody's hand, let them talk to you and let them walk you through a few very simple primary first steps. And once you see how much better you feel, you're hooked. The rest is history. You're going to keep going down that path.
Definitely.
Yeah.
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 So, where can people reach you?
Well, they can reach me on my Facebook page, True Root Health, or my name, Kimberly Rose Bley. I am trying to take back ownership of my personal life, so I'm not posting as much anymore on Instagram or my personal Facebook page. I'm mostly just operating through my business page now. Yeah. Which is another beautiful thing. I felt like I had to put myself out there and have 5 different groups and do this and do that. I didn't feel like I could just be one entity and it would be enough. And again, I want to thank functional medicine for that, because when you feel better, it's not just physically, it's mentally. And so just this past week, I shut down all my other groups. I have one group now. I can give it all my attention. I'm so happy, so happy. And I just, how do you say no? You don't say no, especially if you're a woman. It's very hard to say no. You
That
want to
is a
make
struggle.
everybody happy and everybody like you. And yeah. So I think finally getting to that place where I could just align everything has really changed a lot. And I'm excited about the future now. Again, I feel more creative. I have time to listen to people like you. It's my special treat to push him in the stroller around the neighborhood, and I put on your podcast and I listen to it, and what topic is going to be today, or who is she going to interview today? It's my treat once a day. I never
Oh,
had time for that before.
well, thank you.
So yeah, yeah. I'm excited for your season 2.
Thank you.
Yeah. Or it might be season 3 by the time this is done.
Oh, I don't know. No. You know what? You brought up something before we go. It's that wholeness and being able to say, this is me and everything that I am is okay.
Yeah,
And saying, I don't need to have this like outside validation and do this extra thing. I can
yeah,
do just what's in alignment with what I am meant to be doing.
yeah, yeah. I just don't know, where did our compass get off when we grew up? Where did that happen? You can't pinpoint it to one time frame. It's a evolving thing. And so you really have to just accept it as an adult and start to work on it from that moment. There are therapies where you can go back, and I've heard you can rewrite the script, talk therapy and some other things, but which they're all great. They're all great. I love them all. Um, I hope people can find out how to do it, because when you do come into alignment, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being here today.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to think that about you. I always think, like, I bet she just loves what she does. She just loves doing these interviews and putting it all together. And
I do. And, it's only been about 6 months.
yeah,
And
I was gonna say, I think it's been like a later in life thing for you too, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. May I ask what you were doing before?
Content writing and marketing
Wow.
writing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know a little bit about that, and
Yeah. I came
yeah.
to it from a different way, I think, than some people because I know the marketing side of it. For me, it's been kind of a journey of learning how to use my own voice, you know,
Yeah.
and get a message out that I believe in and want to know and learn more about.
Yeah. Wow. So you did that by creating the podcast because that's what you wanted to talk about. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's wonderful. You're going to reach a lot of people. So I see it. And I've already shared 2 of your episodes. So
Thank you.
yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, he'll say goodbye. Say goodbye, Cheryl.
Bye.
I hope that we get to talk to you again in the
Yeah, it was
future.
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, Cheryl. Take care.
You too. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. You can also find more about each episode on the website at wellnessinachaoticworld.com. Or you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, where we can chat more about living well in this stressed out, chaotic world. And as always, I hope you have a healthy, happy week. If today's episode resonated with you, our private Facebook group is a great place to dive deeper, ask questions, and share wins with people who understand. It's free, it's private, and you can join by clicking the link in the episode description. I hope to see you there.